Let's break down the numbers and why this is life-changing stuff because, for a lot of people that are scared of it or have never been in real estate before, and again, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell anybody real estate. I'm not an agent. I'm just trying to
Hmm.
break down the numbers of this deal. I think I had to put down $80,000 to basically give the equity to the person that did the sub two with me. So this was a sub two deal.
We call it hybrid because there was
Hybrid.
some seller carrybacks
Yep.
that were
Okay.
involved in there in
Break
sub
down
two.
those numbers, and then
Hmm.
it's basically what it ends up leading to is, you put in 120, and if the property is now valued at a million from 600, I mean, you essentially three extra money,
Yep.
and if you can get $1,000 a month, that's a 10% cash on cash return. So that, I mean, that's the end result. Is like that in itself is incredible. I'm super excited to have my property manager, Richard Daly, back on the show. We're going to be talking about subject two. We're going to be breaking down a deal. And in fact, this is a personal deal of mine that Richard's helping me and advising me on and coaching me through. And Richard, I'm so glad to have you back, man. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, man, good to be back.
Absolutely. We're all about teaching people how to retire with abundance, stay in the abundance mindset, how to be phenomenal givers and show up powerfully. And I really think that subject two is one of those ways that people can leverage something really special and get an incredible result, whether it's for retirement income, they're just looking to build their wealth. We were talking about what a blessing it is to be able to help friends out and people we know and love with a place to stay if they need it once in a while. It's just
Hmm.
a really cool opportunity. So, what I want to do in today's video is I want to break down the deal on Mitchell, and I want to just go
Hmm.
through basically, what the deal looked like in the beginning. And
Hmm.
then you came to me and said, look, Danny, if we put in some money into this deal, it's got a pretty cool ARV and after repair value. I think the
Hmm.
cash flow will be this, it's in this area. Like, I just want you to kind of take me through the deal step by step because a lot of people are curious.
Yeah.
They ask me, like, how do you find these deals? Or,
Hmm.
how do you figure out if it's a good deal? And
Hmm.
this one was just like the second I saw it, I was like, let's go. This is amazing.
Yep.
And you recognized it right away and brought it to me immediately and we teamed up on
Hmm.
it. So
Yep.
how did you find Mitchell? And then what
Hmm.
made it a good deal? And then if you
Yeah.
could put the deal, the numbers, that'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So finding the deal, I mean, I get a lot of stuff sent to me, but just being, in various communities and things like that, but also being an agent and, it just comes with the territory of doing deals in the past too. This one in particular came from a referral from another person in one of the communities that I was in. I'd done a couple deals with them in the past and, he was originally looking to keep and hold on to it as an Airbnb, but one of his partners didn't want to commit to again doing the work that we're actually in the process of doing to
Yeah.
pull that value out. So it was really just putting everything pen to paper and actually laying out what the value of it is currently. Mitchell is a main house in the front, kind of a historic-ish house in the front. And then in the back of it, there is a additional dwelling unit or ADU, top and bottom units. So upstairs in the back is a two-bedroom, and then downstairs is completely ripped to the studs, meaning there's nothing inside of it, everything walls, there's absolutely nothing. So seeing that, it to some people would freak you out, right? But
I
it's
did.
yeah. I mean, we went and walked it, and we're like, man, what are we getting into here? But
Yeah.
again, sitting down and actually looking at the numbers, I told you even for the front house is like if we really wanted to, going into the front house, you could completely redo what's there, and we could be close to 650 700 exit just on the front, you know so we made the
What
whole
was the purchase price?
purchase price was 600,000, and that's for again 3 units, right? Three
Crazy.
livable units. So the front house we kept as is. We did some work to, we had to rip out that front door, a
Mm.
couple of other cosmetic pieces, new dishwasher, things like that. But overall, that one we're already live with. We're already rolling. We got some bookings on, right? So good to see
Amazing.
that.
Yeah.
That front unit as a one bedroom, one bathroom, on comps is gonna run you about $35,000 a year, which again isn't spectacular. But when you stack the other two that we have in the back, all in total, your cash flow should be about 100 grand a year, or gross revenues, 100 grand a year after
Yeah.
your mortgage expenses and stuff like that. You should be making between $1,000 $2,000 a month.
Yeah, which is
So
insane,
mhm.
on a deal
Now,
like that. And it's in such a cool part of Phoenix. It's in a very
mhm,
historic part of Phoenix. They're
mhm,
refurbishing it. It's a ton of like Airbnbs and cool communities and restaurants. And like
mhm.
it what sold me on it was I love standing in the backyard and looking across the 10 and seeing the downtown
Yep,
skyline like right there is incredible. So
yep,
it's in a really amazing location. Uh,
yep.
and that's exciting. Now, I feel like a lot of people think I'm just like crazy or I have like unlimited risk capacity or something, but I don't. In fact, I'm
No.
probably the least handy person, and in working with me, you probably identify that I don't know how to do almost anything in terms of home ownership. Like my wife handles everything. She has the toolbox, the whole thing, right? So when you walked me into that unit, I'd never really even seen
Mhm.
the interior of a building like that before, where it was literally just wood, and
Yep.
that
Wood,
was it.
wood and
And like loose
insulation. Yeah,
wires and
yeah.
pipes, and I mean, it did freak me out. And I'm like, to me, it just seems like this daunting, impossible task.
Mhm.
How do you look at something like that and determine there's value there?
It's tough, but it's just with experience and going through various rehabs and stuff like that. But the best part was knowing that there is obviously a market in that area. I mean, like again, that house had, again, a lot of interest. We had interest in it, but also again, just the pure value of knowing that the front house itself has this tangible value of, if we flipped it, well, these back units do need the reno. So again, at least looking at it from livable square footage and everything like that, knowing that if we did it to industry standard right now and brought it up to where it needs to be, that it should force equity into the situation because it is literally not livable at the moment and we're making it livable. So looking at it, it's just taking dollar per square foot and really trying to make it make sense to
Mhm.
where, again, you're not putting the same amount in that you're going to get out of it, right? We obviously have to make sure that that makes sense. So that way you can still refinance or do whatever after you're not completely break even. So
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing here is like we're almost done with the top unit, right? That one was already in the most livable condition. Still a lot of DIY stuff up there that they were doing that we had to correct. So,
yeah,
almost done there, but that one is ready to rock and roll here shortly, before the end of the year. And again, we already have big plans for that. And, cash flow wise should be, again, almost 40, $50,000 on a two-bedroom, one bath. Yep. And then on to the bottom unit, man. I mean, that alone, the combined values between the two, I told you, I don't see a world where livable square footage upstairs with the front house that, you made a package deal at 600,000 that after that work, we put, I mean, all in with labor, actual materials and everything like that, all of the electrical, um, except for the AC that we had to put in and stuff. I mean, you're all in at like less than 40 grand, right? I mean, on the actual materials, parts, labor,
yeah,
and that should materialize into property worth about 750 just with top unit complete. So that's just raw numbers on it. Once that bottom unit is done, you have three cash flowing properties. Then we can now almost pivot to looking at it in terms of almost like a commercial property or a duplex of some sort, or triplex when you're actually looking at the numbers based off of cap rate and occupancy and everything like that, where you should probably be close to $1 million property by the end of this here, Danny,
yeah.
and like holding on to it long term. Again, even if you're breaking even on your cash flow, I mean, the appreciation alone is going to be amazing. So,
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's in a great part of town. It's such a
mhm,
great deal. I'm so grateful to you. And what's cool about working with you, Richard, is like you've literally made this process seamless for me. Like everybody's like, we know that you love being a dad. We know that you love your job. Like how do you have time to like rehab a house? And I'm like, I don't. Like Richard does. I literally have done that. Like maybe like once a couple times a week, you'll text me or call me, and
mhm.
we become friends. So I just enjoy
Oh yeah,
talking. So we talk more than that, just as a friendship. We're doing this 75 hard thing together right now.
yep, yep.
We're on day
Mm.
three. Both of us
Trying
are
to finish my
crushing it.
water, man.
Yep, we're almost there. I got 19 minutes of working out left, and I'm good to go
Yeah, there we go.
for day three. But I think you've got such an incredible team. That's the thing that I really admire about what you've done is like you're like, hey, I got electricians. I got the guy like, the guy that's helping rebuild this place is phenomenal. He's just
Yep.
an absolute incredible person, but
Hmm.
also just incredibly talented. And,
Yep.
and he does a great job. And everybody that's on your roster is just like top
Hmm.
notch. And you're very economical in your approach. Like you're always looking
Hmm.
at how to help me save the most money
Hmm.
in each thing that we do. And I really
Yep.
appreciate that about you. So what
Yeah.
also kind of blew me away was too, is like that first unit, when we got it live, I mean, I think it was like the next day I was getting those text messages like new reservation, new reservation. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like if I were to post a property online, that would be one of the most intimidating parts is like, how do you get
Hmm.
anybody to see it?
Yep.
And so like what do you think is like attributing to your success and the ability to be able to like get an
Hmm.
Airbnb that's like not on the market without reviews onto a
Hmm.
place where people can actually see it and you're getting traction relatively quickly.
Yeah. I invest a lot into the back end in terms of making sure listings are optimized. So, a lot of people don't, know that there's tools, software, and things like that that you can purchase that will tell you where you're ranking at. And if you're not ranking in the top, like what are the top rankings or listings doing? So that way you can try to mimic them. I mean, it's one big algorithm that Airbnb is working with. So obviously trying to mimic what is coming up at the top, and it's constantly changing too. I mean, if I showed you the software, the graphs are constantly up and down, up and down. So it's like there's with that software, I'm able to dissect what is good, what's bad, split test for week, 2 weeks at a time, and make adjustments incrementally. So I think again, yeah, we did get a couple bookings at the beginning, but I told you it's going to be a process because there's a lot of them in the area, but at the same time, it's all about getting your rankings going with the first few bookings, and that's really going to propel you upward. So focusing on getting nothing but 5 stars straight out of the gate, like that's the goal, make it an amazing experience at all cost. And but really going from 0 to 100 is all based off of like what I've invested in and just knowledge of like what we need to have there to make it successful, because it's not going to 0 to 100 is all about really investing into the back end so that way you hit the ground running. Because again, if you're just kind of marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that we're setting this up as if we want families or longer term stays or who we're targeting here to book it, we have to make sure that the listing is set up and optimized
Mhm.
verbally, visually to book those people. So as of right now, it's been like 4 night bookings on average, and it's usually small families or couples coming to stay just for a quiet weekend. They go downtown. Again, it's a short Uber ride there. So I mean, it's really just your back end and like focusing on
Yeah.
SEO and making sure that the algorithm is going to work in your favor. But I'm
Yeah.
actually in the works on putting together a course for people that want to learn all that stuff and find their own
Nice.
properties and stuff. So it's coming, man. I'm ready to give even more to show people what that's going to be like.
That's awesome. Well, let's break it down, right? Because and before I break down the numbers one last time, and then we'll wrap up with that, is like,
Hmm.
have you ever heard of the book? It's one of my favorites called Who Not How.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
so our relationship reminds me of that so much, right? Like,
Hmm.
could I have done this by myself? Technically, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
technically, I could have figured it out, stumbled through it. There's no way I would have known how to value the property. There's no way I would have had the time. There's no way I wouldn't have way overspent in a ton of areas.
Hmm.
There's no way I wouldn't have cost myself unnecessary vacancies. I don't know any of the software you're talking about. I wouldn't even
Hmm.
get bookings. So it's like, people that are trying to do Airbnb on their own, I just feel
Hmm.
like it can be really daunting if you're trying by yourself and you don't know any of this
Yep.
stuff. That just
Hmm.
doesn't seem wise to me. It's like
Yeah.
so I think that, just because this is your business and you know how to provide value in that area, that's what makes it possible for
Yep.
me. I would never do this on my own.
Hmm.
So let's break down the numbers and why this is life-changing stuff because, for a
Hmm.
lot of people that are scared of it or have never been in real estate before, and again, I'm not
Hmm.
trying to sell anybody real estate. I'm not an agent. I'm just trying to
Hmm.
break down the numbers of this deal. I think I had to put down $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
to basically give the equity to the person that did the sub two with me. So this was a sub two deal
Yep. Is
and
a we call it hybrid because there was
hybrid.
some seller carrybacks
Yep.
that were
Okay.
involved in there
Yeah.
and the
Break
sub
down
two.
those numbers, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's basically what it ends up leading to is, you put in 120,
Mm-hmm.
and if the property is now valued at 1 million from 600, I mean, you essentially three extra money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And if you can get $1,000 a month, that's a
Mm-hmm.
10% cash on cash return,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
like net income. So that, I mean, that's the end result, is like that in itself is incredible,
Yep.
like numbers.
Yeah.
But
So
but
I'm
the loan, the debt piece of it, break that down so people understand how you arrive at those,
Yeah. So, I mean, you have your
results.
underlying mortgage that you took subject to, which was about $410,000.
Mhm.
And that was about 4% interest rate.
Mhm.
Your seller carryback from the original transaction, the seller carried back about, what was it 60 grand?
Mhm.
Or no, they carried back 110 grand at 3%. So,
Yeah.
again, you're at 520 there, and then we have the other carryback there at 60 grand remaining, and you did give money down, but overall total purchase price was 600,000. Your um all in investment after that point, like again, we had to do rehab to the back unit and then well, at least upstairs, which should unlock about again the value of 750 grand once everything's said and done there. And you put in, aside from your money down, you put in 40, so you'd be all in at 110,
Yeah.
which again was already, you have about 50 grand there of padding there on the top,
Okay.
but we're planning on doing the bottom unit, which is really going to bump it up. And again, 750 is being pretty modest about it, if I'm being honest
Yeah.
with you. Again, like $100,000 or $150,000 unit, 2 bed, 1 bath in that area is like definitely more than 150. We're trying to be conservative just
I
because,
love it. That's what's great about you. You always give conservative estimates, and you always,
Mhm.
what do they say? Under promise and over deliver.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. I
Sure.
can that.
So,
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to give you the max number on that because again, if we fall short of that, we're going to be like, damn,
I
really
know.
disappointed. So, give you the realistic and just when it comes in higher, we're both going to be like, heck yeah, like we had a feeling, but it's just confirmed and solidified now. But
We're
the
gonna go get
bottom
another
unit,
property when it comes in higher. Take out that equity and go get,
yeah, a
deal
thousand
number
percent.
5, 6. So
Yep.
if you're looking for a killer place to stay in Phoenix, hit up Richard on Instagram. We got
Hmm.
an amazing, quaint little place with the breakfast nook. Like Jen and I totally stay there if we were going
Yeah.
to the city. It's very quaint, very charming,
Hmm.
like perfect location. If you have questions and you need more information, you want to talk to Richard about this course, you need a deal, you need a manager, you need advice. This is the
Hmm.
guy. This is my guy that I use personally. So, and if you haven't seen our other video we did, go ahead and check that out right here. We broke down the first deal we ever did together and the numbers and how we funded it. It was amazing. Richard, thanks so much
Hmm.
for joining me, man. I appreciate you having me
Yeah.
here.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Take care.